expert analysis, and the most important part of the show is that we get to have your say. My name is Precious Inyi. Welcome to the show. This show is produced by Promise Inyi. So let me quickly run you through the hot topics that we have this evening. We may not begin charity at home today. We may begin charity from Kenya, perhaps relating it to home, right? As President Ruto backs down from signing Kenyan tax law after mass protests, and this like a big win for the people. Kenya's Ruto says finance bill to be withdrawn after anti-tax protest. We'll bring you details of this conversation, but let's move on. ASUU issues 2 weeks ultimatum to Nigerian government over 2009 agreement. As a matter of fact, the government has called on ASUU for a meeting right now, a closed door meeting to, deliberate on this issue. But moving forward, presidential jet, Senate convenes emergency seating over supplementary budget. But then, let me let you know, still about that. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, says, we did not approve presidential jets for the president. Then why are you now trying to, have a meeting for a supplementary budget of about 6.6 trillion naira on top of 28 trillion naira plus? In fact, approximately 29 trillion naira. We're having an additional 6.6 trillion naira. That's how much now? Okay, I don't know maths that much, especially when it's not my money. But if it's my money, I know. But let's move on to other issues. There's a story about ASUU Rock spending 244 million naira on tires in one day. Tire in one day. Oh, let's get to other issues. Okay, so Fubara alleges that if Fubara said why the hired youths tried to bomb Port Harcourt hotel today, he didn't mention that, and that's why I just thought we should just chime in on very quickly. Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB can't win referendum. Igbos prefer Nigeria. Arewa youths are saying that. And then moving on to other issues, LG chair confirms bandits imposition of 20 million naira tax on Benue communities. 20 million naira tax monthly on Benue communities, and we're finding out why yam is expensive. Oh, so it's normal. So the reason, are you kidding me? Is this supposed to happen in a sovereign state?
That is a clear evidence of a failed state.
Oh my goodness.
Simply means
20 million naira from Benue State communities. The people of some communities in Plateau State have not told you their own predicaments. Yeah. Neither have Kaduna, Zamfara, and maybe Taraba States, all those farming states. This is sad. But then we move on to other issues. Speaking about Kaduna State, 432 billion naira probe, RFI drags Kaduna Assembly to court. And then moving on, Emirship tussle, politicians asked Ado Bayero to fight after dethronement. Unless if we no fight, Kano State government is saying that. Lagos, these are the hot topics that we have. But as usual, we'll take a quick breather. I will come back and begin to dissect the conversations very quickly, one at a time. This is 90.3 Voice of the People FM. We'll be right back.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city. The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and passion for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Listen to hot critical analysis and top trending topics of the day. Join Precious, Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. on
So listening keenly to the people of Kenya, quoting him, he said, listening keenly to the people of Kenya, we have said loudly that we want nothing to do with the Finance Bill 2024. I think we should quickly take a listen to President William Ruto say that himself. Take a listen to how he addressed the situation.
I run a government because I am grateful to all the members of the National Assembly who voted yesterday affirmatively for the Finance Bill 2024 as amended on the floor of the House to incorporate the views generated through public participation. And following the passage of the bill, the country witnessed widespread expression of dissatisfaction with the bill as passed, regrettably resulting in the loss of life, destruction of property, and disintegration of constitutional institutions. On my own behalf, and on behalf of these members and many other Kenyans, I send my condolences to the families of those who lost their loved ones in this very unfortunate manner. Consequently, having reflected on the continuing conversation around the content of the Finance Bill 2024, and listening keenly to the people of Kenya who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill, and it shall subsequently be withdrawn, and I have agreed with these members that that becomes our collective position. Because
So, as a matter of fact, the protest right now in Kenya has moved beyond the Finance Bill to requesting for more stuffs. Like, some people are saying, Ruto has to go, whether or not he's listened to the people. He's shown the ability that he can listen to the people, but he's got to, go. Inside that Finance Bill, there were stuffs about that. The fact that there's now been bills on, for instance, drugs or cancer patients. Before now, drugs or cancer patients were more like toll-free in terms of tax-free, so that cancer patients can afford those drugs. But part of that, part of the bill, the amended Finance Bill 2024, meant that taxes will now be,
they have to pay something.
They have to now pay something, and to, as much as bill on bread, I think about 16% bill on breads that you buy, to even diaper for children, to different household items. And Kenyans went mad that they can't afford that. What does this tell us? Because in spite of the intimidation by the police and the death, that eventually occurred, the youths did not back down. What does that tell us? Or what should Nigeria learn from that?
It underscores two things. That's the hallmark of democracy. The president is the master servant of the people. Notwithstanding the existence of the representatives of the people in parliament, the president owes a primary responsibility to govern for the overall well-being of the ordinary citizen. And so when they cry, the president should listen. That's the hallmark of a democratic system of government. When the people holler and complain, and the government or the president does not listen, then that democratic system has devoted into a form of an authoritarian system of government. So, what has simply played out in Kenya is the fact that the resolve of the people, ultimate power belongs to the people. If the people are resolute and they express themselves, the government cannot but listen. So there are two things to take away from it. The concession of the president is a demonstration that he's a Democrat, that is the father of the nation.
Should that be rare?
It shouldn't be rare. It shouldn't. You know? But when things comes to shove like this, it tells you there is a disconnect between the parliamentarians who represent the people and what the people want. This bill was passed by the representatives of the people in parliament.
Amidst process, by the way, because the protest started before the bill was passed.
Before the bill was passed. So the Falcon didn't listen to the Falconer. The Falcons in parliament were not listening to their people. And they went ahead and passed the bill, and the people said, no, you can't do that. So we see demonstrated the resolve of the people against dictatorship. You see their resolve against a policy that will affect their well-being negatively. And they were resolute.
Okay, so now that the bill has been withdrawn, as it were, or suspended, there's still a bit of unrest. There are gossips around town that opposition politicians have now hijacked that protest, and it's becoming something else. What would you have the people? What would you have? What should the people have done since the president's conceded?
This is reminiscent of NSAS.
I was going to say that.
Yes. You see, when there is general discontent in the polity, it takes one singular policy to trigger off protest. And once that singular action triggers it off, all the backlog, the undercurrent of complaints begins to surface and pile up. And that is why the advice to any government is always try and anticipate and prevent any form of uprising, any form of general
Do you
strike.
think that that's what the Nigerian government is doing very well? Because, for instance, the whole thing about what's going on with the economy in Nigeria, from the subsidy must go, from the palliatives were promised that have never been given till now. The fact that civil servants can't even earn a wage that can take them home. And then again, we look at the tariff inflation, utility tariff inflation by 330%. The House of Representatives, National Assembly, had told the Ministry of Power to suspend, that is the National Electricity Regulatory Commission, to suspend that tariff. But till date, that tariff is not suspended. Guess what, sir? Even people who were not previously on Band A are now being attached to Band A now.
Yes.
And they are paying 330% increment with nothing, no form of, nothing to cushion, no form of palliative, nothing to cushion the effect of that increment. Businesses are running, are running away. People can't sustain their businesses anymore. But yet, with the intervention now, they say, of the National Assembly, still, that tariff is still on. What should Nigerians have done? That are not doing.
Precious.
Sir?
We are not here to incite anybody.
No, it's not about incitement. We're educating ourselves. Yes, sir.
We're not here to, incite, mass action against government or anything like that.
The government itself acted. Now, the parliament acted by saying don't do.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yes, but you see, the question from which you started, whether what the president did in Ghana, is what our own president is doing here.
In Kenya.
In Kenya.
Yes,
it's what our own government is doing here. First, you must see that immediately the organized labor decided we're going to go on strike. And indeed, the strike was called on, and within 48 hours of the commencement of that strike, you see how the dexterity with which the president and his team had to galvanize organized labor, to a closed-door meeting, marathon sessions, at the end of the day, all right, forbear on the strike. We will, in a period of 1 week, hold several consecutive meetings, at the end of which we hope we'll have a common agreement. And they signed. And the strike was called off. You see, that's what I'm saying, that the government must always anticipate and make sure that a strike or mass protest does not get out of hand. Once it surfaces, the demands will escalate. Don't forget that when the organized labor declared the strike action, two things were principal: a minimum wage and the reversal of the tariff. All right?
But none have been attended to till date anyway.
None has been attended to, but the reversal of the tariff, is it still on front burner?
It is no longer. It is not the minimum wage that is like
the in
cocoa.
thing, right? And then you see again how the Federal Executive Council.
No, but sorry, sir, for cutting you.
Yes.
I mean, in fairness to Labour complained that that government's inaction about the reversal of the tariff is uncomfortable.
Yes.
So they complain. Perhaps they're also waiting for government to act. They did complain about that.
Well, the point I'm just making is that there has been, in my view, a systematic, effective management of the crisis that could have erupted from that national strike that was called on by the organized labor.
All right, interesting. So looking at the Kenyan situation. William Ruto was someone who a lot of Africans were happy about when he was voted into power. People thought Africa is beginning to get it right by voting the right people into law. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why people said, or are of the opinion, or economics are of the opinion, that the reason why Ruto had to tilt towards the Finance Bill 2024 is because he had to raise funds. The previous government left the country very indebted, and he has to raise money to clear those debts and to run the country, because he also has to pay salaries and run a country. How did we get to this stage where it's looking like from the most sought after president now to the president that people are saying and insisting that, you know what, you have to go? Does it mean that the people are a bit too difficult to manage, or the demands of the people are a bit too much? Because in one breath they wanted this man, they were happy to see him, that there was a change, and on the other hand, now there is a protest because of policies that he had to implement to ensure he runs a smooth government.
Well, it's a chicken and an egg situation. The expectations of the people are or were very high. And then they trusted that this enlightened soul would bring succor to their well-being. And then he was elected. Now, it is one thing being an armchair critic and sitting on the saddle of governor.
Not be the same thing, Abi.
At all.
Wow.
So he gets into the saddle of government, and then he then finds that, look, I must deliver on some of my promises to positively impact the well-being of the people, but I don't have the resources. Where do I get the resources? Borrowing has its consequences. All right, so why don't I look for cheap funds? Impose more taxation, reduce some of the free giveaways that hitherto consumes a lot of money, be able to conserve some money, and then implement projects that will impact positively on the people. That's why I say it's a chicken and egg situation. The monies he wants to raise, he wants to use it to impact their life. But meanwhile, the source of the money will also negatively impact the lives of the people.
All right, so
it's a delicate situation.
Okay.
And it takes a statesman, an astute statesman, to be able to navigate, that thin line between delivering and having the resources to deliver. Oh my goodness,
must be tough. So bringing it back up a bit and taking it from the angle of the ASUU. ASUU had an agreement with the government since 2009, and that's part of those agreements are yet to be met or fulfilled. ASUU is threatening a strike action as we speak. They're currently in a closed door meeting with government. Right. Do you foresee any implementation, at least partial implementation of some of these promises?
I believe the president, as a Democrat, will address the lingering problem in the educational sector. Our public institutions are in a state of decadence. Our public institutions are simply wobbling and fumbling. Something needs to be done. Funding is a principal ingredient in trying to restore the glory of the ivory towers. This funding relates not only to infrastructures, but also to the human resource empowerment. You know, in the days of yore, a professor, was in the rank of, ministers of, of the federal cabinet. But today, if you look at the salary of a professor and the salary of a local government councillor, you probably find that the local government councillor probably earns better than the professor.
No way.
Universities no longer provide no new infrastructures to accommodate staff. The accommodation that you find today in the universities are the ones that had been. Yet,
so no new structures, that means there's no development, no improvement.
No improvement.
But wait, the students pay you people development levy every time.
Development levy. My dear, when you say development levy to fund the infrastructures of the university,
I'm just wondering what the school will do with those funds. I just thought to mention.
Oh, look, I can say this.
Okay.
I'm from the University of Lagos.
Okay.
Right? The monthly PHCN electricity bill of the University of Lagos is close to 100 million naira.
Oh my goodness.
Both the ones that are paid to PHCN and the cost of diesel to power the generators that provides
so power generally costs 100 million naira.
Power to the student hostels and to staff quarters and to academic units.
So do you think
in
that's
a
why
university like University of Lagos, if you have a power outage for 3 days, you are in trouble?
Do you think that's the reason why government thought there was an increment in students' fees?
But against this, Precious, the annual budget subvention from the federal government to a university like University of Lagos is not up to 30 million naira.
Then your power alone is 100 million. So how are you supposed to? Okay.
No, you are asking that when they pay development fee.
Okay, no, but I just thought do you think that's why there is an increment in?
So these are things that require funding.
Okay, we don't have time again. We'll have to run because the most important part of this show is for Nigerians to be able to have their say. But before we get to the presidential jet issue, the denial, the subsequent denial, and the purchase of tire for over $200 million, let me quickly touch on.
No, sorry, Precious. The ASUU thing.
Okay.
The 2009 agreement, is a sub point. It affects me personally.
I understand, and that's why I had to give you time to talk about
it. Yes, but we just tangentially, touched.
We just brushed through. Perhaps during the calls, people may ask you more questions and you respond.
The federal government has an agreement since 2009 with ASUU, and between 2009 and now, the ASUU has gone on strike on the basis of that agreement about 4 times. The last being the one of 2022 that lasted 8 months. And notwithstanding that the cause of that strike is government default, the same government now went and said no work, no pay, and seized lecturers' salaries for 8 months. Now, some negotiation came in, public outcry, don't destroy the system, we have the system as the only one, and so the strike was called off. Right? Now, we're in 2024. We're still talking of the implementation of that agreement. What is that agreement about? Funding for the universities, infrastructures, academic end allowances, increase in salaries, come on, are these things rocket science?
All right. Well, we do hope that we look forward to getting the reaction, the feedback from the meeting that will be held, or that is currently, taking place this evening. But let's move very quickly. Something happened at the Dangote refinery today, which led the Dangote team to release a little bit of a press statement that reads, "We have swiftly contained a minor fire incident at our effluent wastewater treatment plant ETP today, Wednesday, 26th of June, 2024, I beg your pardon. That there is no cause for alarm as the refinery is operating, and there is no recorded injury or body harm to any of our staff on duty." This is signed by Anthony Chijina. He's the Group Chief Branding Communications Officer, Dangote Industries Limited. On Sunday, we also had a fire outbreak at the Billingsway branch, Oregon, of the Believers Love World, that is the Christ Embassy Church. That fire was something else. It was a huge fire. But the most painful part of that fire was it was just a walking distance to a fire station. A walking distance. So a fire that would have erupted very close to a fire station at a time when we had the governor of the state, furnish the fire, arm with lots of trucks, new trucks and all that. You would have expected that there must be an expeditive action. Something very swift should have happened. But how did that fire go to that level? It is looking like one too many cases in Lagos State. And that's why I thought to, invite a fire expert to join us in the studio. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome. Go ahead and talk. This is our show. Good evening and welcome. Okay, so since you refused to let me have your name that time, tell us your name now on radio, live on air.
Okay, my name is Chris Adeluga.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a fire consultant.
Okay.
And HSC practitioner.
I know you have to be on our TV show like in the next 5 minutes, so I'll let you run very quickly. Let us in on why did we have this case happen, in Billingsway of the branch of Christ Embassy, and then we have this case with Dangote Refinery. Now, we know that because perhaps of the temperature around the working area of the Dangote Refinery, fire incidents may not be something that you can wish away, as it were. But what should we do that we are not doing that is causing this to happen, and to the level where there's an alarm raised?
Starting with the Dangote Refinery, like I just said now, fire incidents in a refinery is not a big deal.
Okay,
it's what will keep occurring, and problem will come when we don't have system in place to check. Dangote Refinery is built to the very recent technology in refining. That
has not even started functioning optimally, and we're already having incidents.
I can assure you that what happened today shouldn't be a big deal.
It shouldn't.
Yes, it shouldn't be a big deal, especially in the part of the facility that it happened.
But why did it have to happen? Is it that it's not avoidable at all, since it shouldn't be a big deal?
It's avoidable. So human error. Fire always happen when you have one person not doing what he ought to do when he ought to do it, or when he's supposed to do it, something like that. So that is when you see fire happen, like in homes where you didn't fully turn off your gas knob, or you didn't switch off an electrical appliance, or you leave an AC on when nobody's manning, and something like that. Fire happens. So let's
take it back to the incident at Oregon on Sunday. How could that have happened, and the fire went as far as it did without help, or before help came? Understanding that you had fire station just a few meters away, or
actually 10 minutes drive.
Okay, thank you. You even made it worse. Okay, well then, go ahead.
I am still expecting to hear an official statement on that, and like I said in one of your programs some minutes back, that the fire service of Lagos that I know today is better equipped than the fire service we used to know.
So why not so efficient, especially for an outbreak that is very close to them?
The fire service of today is better motivated than the fire service manpower that we used to have.
Okay.
So what is the missing knot? I don't know. But I know these people have good equipment, they have good trainings, they have good exposure. Because at one point or the other, I've been in the training with them, so I know that they have good trainings. So we can't say it's because they are not exposed. So what happened around that time, because Alausa, which is the government seat, is just a stone throw away from Love World, and it's just the next house to the headquarters of fire service in Lagos. So I don't know what happened there until they come to tell us what
are you saying that shouldn't have happened in an ideal situation? That delay or that lack of intervention shouldn't have happened in an ideal situation.
We don't know what happened. I don't know when. I am still trying to get when exactly did they get to the place. I know I got to know about the fire around 7:30 to 8. That's when I got to know. As at the time I had a live video of the fire service was not there. I later got to know the fire service got there around 9 there, about 9:30. So I want to know, like every Nigerian, what went wrong.
Okay, so just before I let you go, because I have to continue with Professor Buku here. So before I let you go, what are those tips we need to know if we were in that situation, like in the Love World situation? That inferno was something else. It was crazy. So if you're caught in that situation, what are the things you need to know? Quick safety tips on how to manage fire and how to manage yourself in a fire outbreak.
Number one thing is also what I'm waiting for to know is the preparedness of that facility. It is the law, both in Lagos and in the federal, that you don't put up a public place without effective protection. What if service have started? What are we going to be saying? So we don't know. Because in a building of such, if there is sprinkler system, the fire shouldn't get that much.
If there are sprinklers?
Yes.
Okay.
The fire shouldn't have gotten that much because it came from the ceiling, and the sprinkler system is coming from the ceiling. So it will have addressed that to a level where people will get alerted and probably will be fighting and before. So now back to human.
Yes.
When you find yourself in such situation, don't be an hero. Go for the exit.
Don't try to put out the fire immediately. So just find your way out first to safety.
If you find yourself in a situation of fire, I was talking on that broader program some days back, and I said, you don't fight fire facing the door. You fight fire backing the door.
Are you serious?
Yes.
How do you mean? Fire is inside the house.
Fire is in the house. You back the door, be ready to go out while you fight fire. You don't fight fire facing the door. What if the fire overpowered you? How do you get out? That's basic knowledge that everybody should know. Everybody should get to know what are the classes of fire extinguishers and how are they used. You have the basic, the most common one, the CO2 and the DCP. CO2 is a gas, DCP is a dry powder chemical. DCP, dry chemical powder, and that fights electrical and more serious fire. But the CO2 is a gas that one takes care of your basic fire like the wood, the paper, and that's why you use that in the house. And the CO2 is not toxic. It's free to inhale.
Okay.
So it doesn't harm you. That's why you use that indoor. But the DCP, that's the type you have in your car, is not meant for indoor, and it's not meant for equipment, because when it leaves residue, and that will spoil your equipment. So what you use in the house is CO2. Everybody should get one. everybody should get prepared.
So pouring water on fire is not a way out. No carry water.
No, there's water extinguisher, but not the water in your cup.
Okay.
That is a treated water, and it's actually pressurized.
Okay.
It's meant to fight a certain type of fire.
Okay.
Not the.
Okay, so there's this myth I heard. I don't know how true it is that when you're in peradventure, when you're in a situation like that where there is an inferno, that you don't try to escape standing up. You should try to walk low.
That's not a myth.
Okay, I just thought to know, because we're not professionals, so
that is the truth.
So that you don't inhale all of them. So why do you do that?
No, you have to crawl. When smoke travels, smoke don't travel on the ground. Smoke comes up to a level. So and one of the things that keep people from escaping fire is smoke. When they are taking so much into their lungs.
Oh, so they become weak.
They become weak. They can't find their way. In your house, you must learn to be able to close your eyes and walk out or crawl out without hitting the door. So so that when there is trouble, you know how to do that.
To exit properly.
Yes, you don't learn to escape when there is trouble. You learn to escape before trouble comes. So teach your children how to walk out of the house closing their eyes from their room. How do you can you get to the door? You can just do a fun thing with your children. Can you close your eyes and get to the door?
So that's basic.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Apologies, I don't have time. We'll have to run. Thank you so much for stopping by to enlighten us. I know our TV needs you. Let me just say that so that in case you don't go, they will know that you have promised. You have that appointment waiting for you.
No problem.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Very much.
All right. So back to you, Professor Abugo. Let's get straight to the business of buying tires and all that. So the Senate has convened an emergency meeting sitting to consider President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's supplementary appropriation for 2024 fiscal year. So we hear that will be for the cost of 6.6 trillion naira. Right. You recall that the former budget, the other budgets that the current running budget was for how much again now? I think that was for 28.7 trillion naira. So we're adding additional 6.6 trillion naira in it. However, the Senate is saying that no, that they did not approve this thing for the president. That thing that they said about approving jets for the president. They said they've not even approved anything. That the Senate was in recession. That they've not done anything like that. In fact, and then I'm sure you saw the statement making the round over the weekend, credited to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. He also refuted that. Let's take a listen to him say that very quickly.
For the president and the vice, irrespective of the fact that Nigerians are hungry or whatever. I never said that. I was actually in Tanzania, in Zanzibar. So this is the handiwork of propagandists and people who never see and feed columnists who never.
All right, so he denied that, but we have a budget of 6.6 supplementary budget of 6.6 trillion naira waiting for us. And in the midst of all of this, we did hear that by the way, ASUU Rock spent over 200 million naira in getting what do they call it now, tires. Right. So let me quickly get to that conversation. So the State House spent a whopping sum of 244,654,350 naira for the purchase and supply of tires in one day. This is according to findings. So investigation and data gathered from sources, particularly a portal documenting the presidential villa expenditure, showed that the State House made payment for the supply of an unspecified quantity of bulletproof tires and Westlake tires the week that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu government marked its first year in office. To that tune, right? So documents show that the sums were 200,583,390 naira, and then another one of 38,070,000 naira, and another one of 6 million naira. They were all respectively paid to a specified amount. So government has time and time again told us that we should manage, endure the baby steps, endure the painful economic policies because they would eventually yield the results. Sometimes they even tell us that the results are already coming out. We know the result. But is this the kind of expenditure that an ideal government should venture into at a time where people cannot eat foods, where people cannot afford basic medications, hypertensive and diabetic patients can no longer afford their medications, and we're buying tires for 244 million naira in one day. And then there's still this allegation of buying jets that they're refuting. But then why do we need an additional 6.6 trillion naira in our budget for this year alone if we're still not buying that jet? Because if we go by the calculation of the amount that is needed for that jet, is about 623 million US dollars. That's about 1 trillion naira. That's about 1 trillion naira. So if we're not buying the jets, what are we doing with extra 6.6 trillion naira? So is it not fair that Nigerians should demand to know how these monies are being expended by the people they put into power or put in power?
Precious.
Sir?
Credibility is end. The scenario that is playing out only demonstrates that increasingly the president and his team are losing credibility before the average Nigerian.
Why? Because of lack of accountability?
Because of the well-publicized, visible cases of profligacy that we see. Government tells you that, look, bear the hardship, increase in fuel, increase in tariff, increase in the cost of tomatoes and other foodstuffs, increase in the price of fish and chicken, and all proteinous things you will otherwise require to eat a decent meal. Increase in the cost of transportation.
Electricity tariff.
Yes, I did mention.
Yes, that's affecting businesses a lot, and that's why it hurts me.
And in the face of all this, you see stupendous, profligate spending by government. Okay, so whether the Senate President denies that they have before the National Assembly some proposal to buy 2 jets for the President and the Vice President, whether he denies it or not, there's no smoke without fire.
You remember that Bayo Onanuga once accused P2B of wanting to kill the president for saying that they should not buy jet at this time.
Yes.
So that means, so whose side should we even believe now? Because from that angle, it looks like there's a plan too.
There's a plan too.
And then from this other angle, there's a denial. So I don't know who we should believe.
And the information is out there in the media that the presidency has 4 aircrafts and 2 helicopters. Actually, 6?
Okay, yeah, actually 10. At least from my last count, from verification.
But 6
10.
are unserviceable.
Okay, so we had 10, which were 4 helicopters, or which are 4 helicopters and 6 jets.
And 6 jets.
And 3 of the jets are so unserviceable that they are bad. That there are gossips that are even trying to, get a US marketing company to market it so we can do away with those 3 that are not so good. And one of those would have been the president's jet.
So these information are out there. The material question will be, would this be the right time when Nigerians are tightening their belts, for the presidency to be spending that kind of money to buy 2 jets? The question also arises, when you say 240 something million.
Yes, please. Tires, because they're bulletproof tires.
Yeah, bulletproof tires.
And other kind of tires.
The report actually said the invoice, that paper that leaked, did not state the number
of tires. Yes, it just said they were for tires. So
we don't know whether they are stocking a store or whether they are just one-off purchases. These are the kind of transparency that will otherwise buy the government some element of credibility. But when they do these things and prepare these papers, and then they come to under the public's eye view, you then lack transparency,
but do you
lose credibility.
But do you blame this present administration for that? Because it looks like this has been a stock in trade of Nigerian government generally.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's now this one is purchased under this administration.
So let's get to look at. I understand, but they are not the first to do this. So let's also look at the wages of all our political office holders, both appointed and elected. It's not in the open. I don't know if you have it, sir. You're a professor.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't. Even the ministers, we don't know how much they earn. So how is it that there are ministers that are appointed paid from taxpayers' fund?
At some point, there had been some disclosures,
but they are denied.
I remember Senator Sonny of Kaduna State at one time.
Shehu
Sani, came out and said, "Look, this is what we earn."
Absolutely.
I don't remember the figures, but
about 14 million.
About 14. And then the commission responsible for wages, also at one point came out and said, no, this is not this is what they earn on the book.
So in an ideal democracy, shouldn't we know how much all our political office holders, both elected and appointed,
earn? That is why
earn?
I said, gradually, if you are not transparent, you begin to lose credibility.
So how long should we continue to, not request for their wages, really?
At every point in time, the federal and state governments will buy, Japanese-made, bulletproof vehicles, as operational vehicles. And they tell you that, should we trek in discharging our function? Under the Constitution, the function of the legislators is a full-time job. It was not considered as a full-time job under the 1999 Constitution. But yet, that's what it is today. Who will bail the cat? They are all enmeshed in it.
So you're saying that the job of a lawmaker is not a full-time job?
It's not a full-time job.
Under the Constitution?
Under the Constitution.
So why are we giving them all the allowances we're giving to them for newspaper, for dressing, for wardrobe, for furniture, for this? Because Shehu Sani mentioned it then as some of the allowances that they earn.
They have furniture allowance, they have accommodation allowance, they have health allowance.
And these are monthly, cuts into monthly.
Yes, constituency allowance, they have...
constituency they say is about 500 million every 3 months.
They have wardrobe allowance.
Oh my God. Okay, so there is no way out in this whole thing.
Of course there is a way out. The government must have a will. If the executive has the will to rein in some of these outrageous costs of administration, then the ordinary Nigerian will begin to believe and give credibility to government when it says, rein in your belts. They will be good at the end of the tunnel. Okay,
so let's quickly move to security, because our callers are already buzzing our phone lines and we can't wait to bring them into the conversation. So the caretaker chairman of Ukum local government area, Victor Loza, has confirmed bandits' imposition of 20 million for one local government, 20 million naira on residents of Logo, Katsinala, and Ukum councils areas. About 3 local government councils. Now, it was reported that bandits levied the 20 million as monthly tax to be paid by all the households in the area. All of us will contribute, pay bandits money for us to live in peace in that local government area in Benue State. Addressing newsmen, Loza said it is true that armed bandits are taxing the people and are demanding 20 million naira. He disclosed that a bandits leader, popularly known as Full Fire, connived with herdsmen to attack people of these areas mentioned. According to Loza, I have reported the matter to the police, to the State Security Council, but perhaps no expeditive action yet. How is it possible that in a sovereign state we are paying taxes to non-state actors to this huge amount of 20 million naira, and we're wondering why we can't buy yams, we can't buy onion, pepper, and other food farm produce?
Some consider it very unpatriotic to say that gradually we are becoming a failed state. Maybe by way of generalization, but certainly in a governance unit like the local government, where things have spiraled out of control, the local government chairman is no longer in control. The unit of the Nigerian police that is responsible for maintaining law and order in that place has been rendered inept. The division of the Nigerian army that otherwise oversees that place is unable to guarantee safety of lives and property. The state has failed.
So these are signs of a failed state.
The state has certainly failed in that local government. And you see, Precious, some of these things, well, we'll give it to the military that occasionally or periodically we get reports of engagement with bandits, capturing one or two notorious bandits, sacking some of their enclaves in the forest and all of that. But I find it puzzling that banditry has thrived under a financial regime involving huge sums of money. How come that the financial regulatory authorities are unable to put a seal and a tab on the sources and use of proceeds of banditry?
They ought to be tracked, right?
Of course, yes. And they're tracking 419ers. How is it possible? You see some of these video clips, actual video clips of bandits in the forest. You see them with Hilux cars, brand new. You see them with motorcycles, brand new. You see them with ammunition, brand new. And then they are in the forest. Somebody feeds them. Somebody gives them food. The monies that they tax and extort from people, goes through the banking system. Or is it all cash transactions? So, somewhere, somehow, you can see that there are regulatory gaps.
Do you think there is also some complicity?
Well, evidently, you cannot rule away complicity. Because if there is no complicity, specific financial regulations targeting some of the funds that are being, mobilized and deployed by bandits could be checked. So somebody is not doing something right.
All right. Let's quickly just touch the story. So the Arawa Youth Consultative Forum, AYCF, has declared that the Nnamdi Kanu-led indigenous people of Biafra will lose if a referendum to decide Biafra is conducted. I don't want to go into details of this, but do you believe this?
I do.
That Nnamdi Kanu will lose if a referendum is conducted.
I do. I believe his incarceration has actually fueled and given him a lot more legitimacy and credibility than he deserves. I am of the fair view that the section of this country that is most invested in every other section of this country are the Igbos.
So why do you think they will lose out in a referendum?
Look at it. In the commercial life of Lagos State, in the commercial life of Kano State, in the commercial life in Kaduna State, in the commercial life of Sokoto. I'm just talking of, the major commercial centers in this country. The Igbos are fully entrenched.
They are the heart of it.
They are the heart of it. Now, that group will certainly not want to become foreigners in each of these sections.
Because it may be difficult to leave their businesses in those areas.
Of course, yes.
But there are also Nigerians who are thriving abroad, aren't there?
No, I'm just talking of, look at all the various regions or sections of this country. It will not be in the interest of the Igbos as a collectivity to say, if we now want to come to Lagos, we'll apply for visa. If we now want to come to Kano, northern Nigeria will apply for visa. And then some of the things that are happening to some of our investors in South Africa begins to happen to them in northern Nigeria and in western Nigeria. It is not in the interest of the Igbos.
So you agree with our
So I agree that, leave it to the average Easterner, the average Igbo man who is investing, who is making headway in his business. A united Nigeria is much more in his benefit.
But in spite of the unitedness, as it were, if I had to use that word, do you also think that a fair Nigeria, it's paramount?
Indeed, I think the agitation, and I agree with the Arewa guy Shetima, who is saying that in truth, what the Igbos want is justice, fairness, and equity.
Yes,
and I think that is lacking. To that extent, the agitation is justified. But for secession, no, it's not in their interest.
All right, Lagos, thank you so much for giving us your time. Professor, you're still here, so people will be asking you those questions that I was supposed to ask. But let me just run people quickly through the hot topics that we've had this evening. President Ruto backs down from signing Kenyan tax law after mass protest. And another headline has it, Kenya's Ruto says finance bill to be withdrawn after anti-tax protest deaths. I did also play his sound by saying that ASUU, Nigerian government in closed-door meeting as strike looms. That's also in the news. I will let you in on the outcome of that meeting, by the way, once they make it public. Presidential jet, Senate convenes emergency sitting over supplementary budgets of 6.6 trillion naira, by the way. 6.6 trillion naira. Senate didn't approve new presidential jet, so Senator Kwabie says, we don't approve any jet, so how people go hungry, who can't they approve jets? What are we doing with a new 6.6 trillion naira? After we have already approved the budget of 28.7 trillion naira, that is with accusation of being padded, by the way. And then we're adding 6.6 trillion naira. That's over 35 trillion naira budgets. Okay. All right. And then moving on to other issues very quickly. Yes, I did tell you that ASUU spent 244 million naira on tires in one day. ASUU, the seat of power in Nigeria, spent 244 million naira for tires, that is motor tires, in one day. And then Fubara speak on why hired youth tried to bomb Port Harcourt Hotel. That is the River State Governor, Fubara, that is the presidential hotel Port Harcourt was almost bombed, so he said, and he spoke on why it did happen. Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB can't win referendum, Igbos prefer Nigeria, Arewa youth say so. LG chairman confirms bandits in position of 20 million naira tax on Benue communities. About 3 local governments in Benue State have been imposed the levy of 20 million naira monthly. They go to contribute, they pay that money to bandits, unless they no go no peace. Hey, Father Lord. Is it possible that the entire security apparatus are unaware of this? Is it possible, sir?
Of course they are aware.
And then we cannot do anything.
I mean, this is a local government chairman confirming to you what obtains.
Maybe we don't understand the gravity of the situation. But let me just move on. 432 billion naira probe. El-Rufai drags Kaduna Assembly to court. And then in Kano State, Emirship tussle, politicians asked Ado Bayero to fight after the dethronement. Kano governor is saying so that the man for go rest jejely, but the politicians tell him make it go continue to fight. Lagos, these are the hot topics that we have. Sincere apologies for taking a bit of your time. Phone lines are now open. 0700-903-903. That's the number to call. 0700-903-903-903. The WhatsApp line is 0817-175-6338. 0817-175-6338. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Oh dear, I lost that. Okay. Hello, good evening. I don't want this network issue today. So it's 0700-903-903-903. Hello, good evening. Are you there? Hey, can I hear you? Can you hear me? Hello, good evening.
I can hear you very well.
Oh.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you, my brother. Man. Sir?
How are you doing today?
I did doing. I cannot tell you how exactly, but I'm just doing. And I'm inside you doing like this.
Prof, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
This is Kelechi from Oshodi.
Kelechi, you're welcome. Go ahead, please.
Kelechi.
So I want to talk about Kwabie saying that they did not approve presidential jet for vice president and the president.
Go ahead,
so,
please.
See, okay, but why another come out to tell Peter that did he want the president to die? Is it true or lie?
Go ahead, please. Yes, he said so. Go ahead. We don't have so much time, so you have just 1 minute, please, so we can accommodate others.
I can't hear you clearly, but I just want to say what I want to say.
Hurry up, please. Make it quickly, please.
So I want to talk about the Arewa youth saying that Igbo man cannot say that they will go to Biafra. They cannot speak for average Igbo man. Somebody like me now, if they talk about Biafra, I'm going, I'm going because this country, I don't know what they are doing. I don't know. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hello, good evening to you.
Good evening, Precious.
Sir, you're welcome.
My regard to the Prof.
He can hear you. Go ahead.
Please, I want to speak on one. The APC government is telling Nigeria that there's a future hope. Future hope is that with all the roads in Nigeria will be tied. Cup of rice will come to 100 naira, and the electric tariff will drop down. Is it by miracle or by how will it come? The finance are not working. Many companies that have given Nigeria money that are leaving. Where will Nigeria receive their hope? They are just deceiving Nigerians. That's the only thing. Second one, I want to talk about Yerima talking about Biafra matter. If Biafra have the sensation, if anybody that want to remain in Nigeria that bandits are collecting tax before you go to farmer, let them remain. Let everybody have peace. Please. He will speak on his own. Don't speak on the Biafra or Igbo own. If Biafra come to exist, if any Igbo man want to stay in our outer land, anything that you see there, let it take. But let there be peace in Biafran land. Let there be peace in Yoruba land. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hello, good evening to you. Hello?
Hello, good evening, Precious.
Please help me turn up the volume of your radio set, please, completely. Thank you.
Good evening, Precious.
Sir, welcome, sir. Good evening.
And good evening to the guests.
Thank you.
Precious, I don't want to attack you because now you tell me that you are not feeling fine.
What did I do
Emeka
again? Hey, Emeka, how are you? Emeka,
I want to speak on concern. Yes, thank you very much. I will not attack you because Darlington is not there today to help me.
Thank you. Go ahead. You want to speak on what?
I want to speak on Yerima, speaking concerning the Biafran referendum. I don't want to use a harsh language. Please, let him speak concerning the bandits in the north and leave the southeasterners alone. For me, referendum is the only way. And no sane Igbo man will want to remain in this Nigeria where we are treated like this. Nandekan has been in detention for over 2 years now without no cause. Many of them who done worse things than what he has done are free. The same treatment is being given to every Igbo man everywhere in Nigeria. Come to the southwest, go to the north, it's the same thing. Whatever problem they have in their own private business will be ended up with Igbos and their businesses. And they are telling me that no Igbo man that will lose referendum. Not at all. We are really eager to go. Let us go. When we go, we'll build it up. Now remember how much was given to an Igbo man after the war. They think we all got die. But we stood on that and we are still winning. So referendum is the only way. And without doing that, unless they give us a fair share of the country, we are being marginalized to an alarming extent. Is no longer tolerable. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Hello, good evening to you.
Hello, Precious. Good evening.
Hi, good evening and welcome. Thank you.
And good evening to your guests in the building.
He can hear you.
Thank you.
But you have Alex over here.
You're welcome, Alex.
Precious, please, I want to clarify something here. You said something which got me so upset.
Hey!
Though I love you because you believe you're good. Though. Yes. You said something when you were mentioning about this tire, that this Senate bought. And you said they are not the first government that have done this before. That the previous one. Must Nigeria continue in the same old recycled cargo kind of system?
No.
You're trying to solve a problem.
No, I am not. Okay, so let me apologize quickly before you finish. In fact, I'm not apologizing. I wasn't standing brief for government when I said that. I wasn't standing brief for government. Maybe it's you that you don't understand. But Professor Bugo understand that I wasn't standing brief for government.
It made me to feel like, must we continue in the same kind of...
No, because that's actually the excuse. That's actually the excuse that the people in government will keep giving to you. But it didn't start with them.
Children, which is the most painful part of it, they are not even able to eat egg a day. When they are supposed to get protein.
I think Precious was just saying that this rot didn't start today.
They didn't understand. He doesn't understand. So it's okay.
I get it.
That was
but must the government continue in that sense? Because these people are heartless. Their hearts are so darkened that they feel they don't have conscience. Must they continue that system? Buying time.
Oh dear. Apologies. Okay. Thank you. Hello. Good evening to you. Hello.
Hi, Precious.
Hello, Remy.
Hello,
you're welcome.
Precious.
Sir, Remy, how are you? Can you hear me?
Fine.
Okay, go ahead.
The network is busy.
Just go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Very, very well. So make it quick, please. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
We're waiting for you. Hello?
Can you hear?
I can hear you for now, so just help me make it quick.
Me?
Oh dear, apologies. We lost him. Hello, good evening to you. Please help me turn up the volume of your radio set, please. Hello?
Sir? Hello. Good evening.
Good
How
evening.
is everybody there?
We're fine, thank you. How about you?
Yes, Precious.
Sir?
You remember last week when I was saying something that people die for others to live. Are you see what's happening in Kenya now? But by that time, we haven't got this problem in Kenya. Remember?
Yes.
When people say, oh, if we go out now, they will kill us. Oh, Kenya, take it upon them. Take it upon them. Some people died. And then the tax was cancelled, automatically cancelled. So now the whole Kenyans are rejoicing. People have died. And all the rest would be the remaining ones will live. That is how to fight for democracy. Democracy is not fought by sitting down and talking for the whole day. No. That is why this man said that if you want democracy, you have to fight for it. So let us make our president to hear what we are saying. Please, tell our president, how do we go and tell our president that we have a problem now? There is very big problem that might spark something. I don't want to mention that. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you so much. Good evening to you. Hello, good evening. Good evening.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Sorry, was there a counter protest in Kenya? I doubt there was any. Unlike here in Nigeria.
You mean pro Ruto protest and pro 2024 bill, financial bill protest?
Exactly. I'm not sure there was anything of such.
Why are you like this, Remy?
People came together. And SARS, we saw what happened. We saw how government vehicle brought thugs. This is not my opinion. These are facts. How DSS came with thugs. There are videos of this. They brought thugs to the scene of the event just to destabilize the protest. We saw how BRT brought thugs to NSAS protest ground. We saw all that. We saw how thugs with machete were released by police after they were handed over to the police. So what happened in Kenya can't happen in Nigeria as it is. Today, if even on your station now, you will see government, you will see pro-government Hallelujah boys. They will call in and tell you we shouldn't talk about what happened in Kenya because it might probably spark anything in Nigeria. They will tell you that because I've been listening to them since morning on another platform. That we shouldn't speak what happened in Kenya. We might choose to, it might end up instigating people to, they tend to do what they're asked to do. Whether they are paid, I don't know. So it's so unfortunate, though NSAS wasn't a lost cause, because as we speak today, people no longer pay a dime to drive through that part in Lekki, precisely, and so many other things. I wish Nigeria can come together and fight our cause. The issue of marginalization, in a way, I used to believe that, but I no longer believe in that theory. Tell me one region that has not been marginalized. People who are being killed in the north, they are not than us. And nobody is like speaking for them. The southeast that we believed are being marginalized. Over the years, we've been having southeastern governors, lawmakers. Why have they not done something different for their people? Why have they not? Here in Lagos, we have lawmakers who are Yorubas. Have they done anything for me as a person? Are they not displacing people in their homes? Are they not rendering people homeless? So it is the poor against the elite. As long as we understand that, things will get better.
Thank you very much.
Aside from Lagos State, aside from Lagos State within the southwest, tell me which other state that is going after the southeasterners. It's only Lagos State. So it's not as if there is a war between the southwest and Igbos. We saw what happened in the last election. We saw who did it. It was the police.
All right, thank you. While I cannot give you the statistics that I have off the top of my head now, but let's just move on. Hello, good evening to you. It's your opinion, and you're entitled to it.
Hello, good
evening
evening.
to you.
Precious, how are you, ma'am?
I'm fine, thank you. Am I fine?
All right, my greetings to your
that's the
guest.
default
My
answer.
name is
Thank
Shola.
you. Shola, you're welcome. Go ahead.
All right, yeah. So I don't know why whenever I call, just like yesterday, I can't hear you well, but can you hear me?
Excellently. I can hear you crystal clear. Go ahead.
Okay, quick one, Hey, for somebody, mentioning and speaking for some other tribe and telling them referendum or whatever will not work. Like other people have replied in, they should go and tackle the issues that they have over there. I believe in a way they are the ones they are part of the problem of this country, the elite of those sides. Then the other things we have to add to these things that these elites, they cut across all the ethnic groups. You understand? So even if our brothers want to go, even for
Oh, sorry. I think you put me on hold without knowing. Hello? Oh dear. Apologies there. You may have put it on hold without knowing or incidentally. All right, phone lines are still open. 0700 903 903 903. The WhatsApp line is 0817 175 6338. Hello, good evening. Hello, are you there? Good evening. Hello, are you there? Good evening. All right, when you're ready to talk to us, please do so. Hello, good evening to you.
Precious.
Sir, you're welcome.
My name is Mr. Biga.
My Oga, good evening, sir.
How are you today,
I'm
ma'am?
very fine. Thank you.
Precious, I was just going through the indices of a failed state. And Nigeria is presently at 87.5, according to the indices of a failed state, as is presented by a body in the United States of America. So we have only about 23 more points to reach, and the country will collapse. But that's not my topic for today. My topic for today is the Sherima, chairman of the Arewa Youth. He's getting it absolutely wrong. He is absolutely getting it wrong. If there should be a referendum today, there will be more than 93.4% of persons who will say yes, they want to go out, including the people who have all these mansions all over the places. You see, you better think about 50 years than just thinking about what is happening to your properties and what is what and what is not what. The totality of the Igbos are so disenchanted with the present situation in the country. And anybody who is saying otherwise is not really reading the handwritings on the wall. Thank you very much, Precious.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, good evening. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good evening, sir.
Precious.
Sir?
Do you know that we go to bed empty hunger?
Yeah, we all go to bed empty hunger, my brother.
We go to bed empty hunger. Precious, tweak it. I can't hear you, tweak it.
I say we all go to bed empty hunger. In fact, I personally, I go to bed empty hunger.
Precious, good evening. This is Michael.
Michael, you're welcome. Thank you.
Nah, you are guest though. Now be my wahala this night though.
I wouldn't do you.
In every state of the federation, each time the local government chairman tenure lapses, every day of the week, it is the governor who nominates transition caretaker committee chairman. He started by, one thing with Nigerians is that when there is a confrontation between the bigger person and the smaller person, they will leave the aggressor, who is the bigger person, started blaming the victim. That's what he's trying to do there. That is number one. Number two, you see how he was talking about the ASUU because it's affecting. That's how he's talking about it. Is it not this ASUU that the system will use to rig election? After 2 months, they will go on strike. They better not go on strike. As the government settle the judiciary, let them settle them. All of them are paddy. They don't want to hear their strike again. Now, the issue of Kenya. You see, why
it will not be the same. Look at the NSAS. We started celebrating victory in the middle of a battle. The government has not considered. You've not even achieved anything. We started celebrating. Congrats to my generation that we've done what the older generation had not done. I won at that point. It is too soon to start celebrating what happened. The moment we lose guard, the government swept in, and that was at the end of it. As for the Kenyan issue, they shouldn't stop until that route of the moving.
Talk quick.
Allow me to talk now.
No, you have to. You've done 2 minutes plus, so no. I'm giving everybody 1 minute today because you started late. Hurry up. No, just land fast.
Let me talk about
you don't talk on before now.
You see, I never talk on that. You see that referendum?
They keep person waiting.
It doesn't make it not be a matter of you. They not go win. They no make them bring it on. Let us try now. Bring it on. If you are so sure of say, what are you saying? Bring it on. Let us see who will win. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Bring it on.
Thank you.
That's what I can tell them. Bring it on.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Hello. Good evening.
Precious.
Sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Do you want to disenfranchise my voice?
I will not. I will not. I am.
I was connecting you.
I almost wanted to say I'm not a professor. Sorry. I'm not. I don't have the capacity.
Let me greet my erudite, the prof.
Hell, don't forget senior advocate, please. Put some respect.
SAN,
some respect.
Senior advocate of Nigeria.
Thank you.
Prof, I greet you, sir. My name is Jova. Okay. I always like it when you're in the studio.
Thank you, Jova.
Prof, I want to say, let me leave Precious first of all. What happened in Kenya, Prof?
Yes.
What did they do differently? It's very simple. They went to those who are supposed to represent them and made sure that this particular bill did not sail through. That is simply what they did. They did not stay at home arguing about the turn of Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, all of that. They came together for a purpose, realizing that if that bill had gone through, all of them would be in the same quagmire at the same time. So they did what they had to do to liberate themselves. Now they have a president who is very intelligent. I understand he has PhD. I don't know how true that is or not. So he understood the people, and he is now about to withdraw that bill. Has he not withdrawn his Precious?
He has. I played. You didn't listen from the beginning. I played his statement.
Oh, Precious. Somebody was distracting me.
I played the statement he made.
It shows you how a leader should behave. Leaders should listen to the people. A leader, if, for example, our president took away subsidy last year, it brought us to where we are. Somebody just gave us a number 87 indices now. If the president is listening to us, he will reintroduce whatever measure to make sure or mitigate, for the want of language now, the suffering of the people. What do we need to do is very simple. Our problem in this Nigeria now is those people that are in the House of Assembly. Prof, yesterday I was telling Precious about a senator that was interviewed and all the things that he said. These people are not interested in representing us, but themselves. If they are representing the people, and NLC is talking about improve on welfare of their living, that would have been the front burner discussion in that house. Are we hearing that? The answer is no. Somebody said they are telling us that they have 4 drivers and they cannot pay those 4 drivers.
Thank you.
They don't care. Precious, I'm dropping out. Prof, what we need to do is very simple. Nigerians, we have to come together as the people, not as sections of the nation, and storm that particular house in Abuja. Chase them away. And if they cannot do this thing for us, we do it for ourselves. Thank you, Precious.
Thank you so much. So you're very correct. William Rutu holds a PhD in philosophy. So he's a doctor of philosophy, but also I think his master's degree is on plant ecology. I think so. Yes. So thank you so much for that. Hello, good evening to you. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Madam Precious.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for the good program in which you are present.
Thank you too for calling me.
Now, my name is Shengu. I'm calling from Isolo.
Shengu, you're welcome. Go ahead.
I've been a follower of BOP.
Oh, thank you.
What is happening in this country? Everybody can talk from anywhere. And maybe yes, we are all expressing all our mind about the present government. But you see, Kenya has just proven that what the Western countries, the citizens of the Western countries, could not control from their government. They've just proven it that we Africans too, we can do the same. But how many of us in Nigeria here can emulate and copy what Kenya do? Now, you remove subsidy. Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello, you remove subsidy. This is 13 months. The citizens are not, everybody is just grumbling. That's not the solution. We should all come out in mass and protest against this government.
And I would not let you use that platform to say that. Whilst you're entitled to your opinion, I appreciate you. Thank you. Hello, good evening to you.
Good evening, this is Jonathan from London.
Jonathan, you're welcome. How far now? How are you today?
Thank God that we are moving away from allegedly.
Jonathan, it's not me you're throwing shade on. You're shading me like this, eh? On a non-sunny day. That's not good. Go ahead.
But you understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't understand. My understanding is not understanding.
Good evening, Prof. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, it's quite unfortunate that you are coming from the constituency that puts Nigeria on this situation. I'm very sorry to say that. So I appreciate
I'm part of the impoverished Nigerians. I'm part of the marginalized Nigerians.
So I appreciate the stray bullets that came before my call came in. So
I haven't said what, don't worry.
So I want to acknowledge your comment on this, the unpronounced banditry sector. When you say that this logistics, somebody provided, there's money exchanging hands. These people have a perfect logistic to carry out their dastard acts. And none of the Nigerian financial institutions can say that they don't know about what they are doing. And irrespective of how cried, people are crying every day. People are paying ransom, money are exchanging hands, arms are coming in to the country, to customs, through immigration, and some people are still saying that we know nothing about it. So, as the person said, even that 87.something% that he said that we have met the first stage, I don't think the statistic is correct. We are very, very close to 100, to be honest. So it is quite unfortunate that this is a sector that is unpronounced and is hurting everybody, every household. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hello, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Good evening. The line is bad. Hello, can you hear me?
Joe from Bariga, the talk.
Joe, you're welcome. Go ahead, please, very quickly.
Yes. Precious.
Sir?
Precious, you are part of River State. Oh. You know what the weekend has done now? If we dash people 5,000, they will come out on the street and protest. Then if Fubara now cut aside 10,000, the Fubara team will come on the meadow to come and protest. What is wrong? What is wrong with your people there? What is wrong with them? You don't have big people who come and talk. You don't have big people who love democracy. You don't know. You want to put this state into anarchy. You want to put this state in anarchy. We have been saying, talking. We can call this man to order. Mr. President, call we to order. And nothing is done up to this time. We want to spark light into so that Fubara will go. Is it possible for Fubara to go? Okay, we are standing by here to check what is going to happen. But it's not good. Precious, why are people precious?
Hey. Thank you. Oh, yeah, let me go and read messages if I'll be safer there. All right, so I go to I start with my WhatsApp messages. Let me begin with this. Bandit has taken over Benue State to the extent of taxing them 20 million naira monthly, and Nigerian, that is some local government, others have not spoken. And Nigerian government is comfortable with with that, without sending army there to have checkpoints at every pole, but send armies to southeast simply because they said they want to leave Nigeria, meaning that they are ready to sacrifice anything just for the Igbos not to leave Nigeria. I'm Obi from 7 and 8 cents in that message. And His Royal Highness BC Wilco says, what's happening in Kenya should be a wake-up call to all African leaders, especially Nigeria. Making all ill policies that are not for the interest of the masses will definitely be followed by anger and aggressive responses. I urge government of President Tinubu to reverse some of his policies that are anti-masses, like the removal of fuel subsidy. But it's unfortunate the people around him are not telling him the truth. His Royal Highness BC Wilco said that. Do you think that those around the president are not sincere with him?
One cannot, but birds of identical plumage
okay.
conglomerate together. Yes, so the policies you see come out are a product of the people
around him. Okay. All right. So Nigerians will not learn. Okay. Good evening, precious Igbos will prefer to remain in Nigeria if referendum is not conducted. That's what Youth Forum said. And of course, if federal government is still will stop marginalizing the Igbos, that would be fine. Nigeria will not learn anything about what is happening in Kenya because Nigeria is not one. And some politicians will say they are planning to protest because their preferred presidential candidate did not win. Okay. Good evening, Pre. Did you say 44 million was spent on tire? I said 244 million. Where did you keep the 200? 244 million naira was spent. In fact, 244 million point something. There's something on top of it to buy tire for one day alone. This is what we are saying, that the present administration doesn't mean well for the citizens. Tinubu's government is too wasteful and careless about the people. This government could do better. Okay, they should take a clue from Kenya. That's what you're saying. Tayo from Otter sent in that message. And Alicia says, good evening, precious. Adeyemi from Satellite Town says, governors fighting hard for state police, but fighting even harder against local government autonomy. This shows only one thing, that governors want more power than they already have. Okay, yeah, that's what you said. And hello, precious. Okay, Harry from Ogada, see your message. Okay, thank you, I appreciate it as your opinion. Good evening, precious, and your guest. My people go to bed empty hunger. What's happening in Kenya about revenue issues are common among most African countries. Most of them are up to their neck with debts. Can you imagine? If what the government promised ASUU is too much for this new government to handle, won't it affect the negotiation process? Kene Chukuk from First asked that question. Good evening, precious. Did you hear what you're feeling? Bottle Senate. Okay, we're hungry. What did not understand gravity of whatever he says? He swears that the situation of I don't understand. Usman from Oshodi. All right, precious, your guest saying the current president of Nigeria is a Democrat is laughable. Does the Democrat punish its people, citizens like this without thinking twice? How would someone call such a lavish fellow Democrat? When are we ready? I say when we are ready, even the people in Kenya will be proud of us as we're proud of them. On this issue of security, precious, people in government are complicit, period. That's your opinion. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. But let me see if I can go to YouTube, where I have lots of reactions. Linza Khan says, everything I don't know, please vet people. Okay. Okay. All right. Mafan says, basic fire thing in a job abroad as new staff and always having fire dryers every week. Precious, yesterday you say we should or call them out. They are doing well according to you, precious. I don't understand. I can't remember saying that. Precious, you are complaining I served in northern part of Nigeria. Excuse me, they burnt my principal's wife. She cannot work till today, but we should keep deceiving ourselves. Amarachi Uche says, let Nigerian government dare conduct referendum and be ashamed. Oga, can we try the referendum? People like this Arewa man and this youth will be disgraced. And their youth will be disgraced. Okay. Wisdom and Didi says Nigerian people, they are only good in calling and talking, and not taking action. William Smart says there are some folks you don't share citizenship with. You'll be doomed. You'll be doomed for life. Inkem Innocent says, good evening, Precious. Do you believe that all right, good evening, Precious. Do you believe okay, I think I lost that message. All right, let's see if I can get it very quickly. All right. Okay. Good evening, Precious. Do you believe if Igbos go their own, Yoruba may not be able to stay with Hausa? Wisdom Minute says Nigerian people are good in calling and talking. Okay, they're not taking action, right? Madragon Kemakolam says those that are advocating for everyone to start planting in their houses and environment should also advocate for government to cut costs by buying Nigerian assembled cars and automobiles and reduce costs of governance. Lindsay Lord says Jagaban is I don't understand. Okay, thank you so much. I love you too. Alleges Mechebe. Thank you. I love you too. Say Precious, I greet you. I love you too. At least one love for me today, not a APC woman leader every time. Let me just use one love and be going. So Ruto has reversed from going the Buhari way of instance. Called protesters criminals and all sorts of annoying words that best describes the politicians. Well, good he turned back from the fruitless ventures that would have sent him out of office. It's left for the Kenyans on what next to do, because those killed aren't chickens. Nigeria can you see Kenya? Even if fuel rise to 100, thank you per liter. And I'm not going to talk anything. Prof, sir, let me have you give us your parting shot. I like the way you smiled over that. Do you believe that even if fuel is 10,000 naira per liter, Nigerians won't react? In Adamawa State, they're currently buying fuel for over 2,000 naira per liter because, the petrol the tanker unions, they are on strike.
We are so individualistic.
So we think of ourselves alone.
Yes, we're very selfish. You know. Even when NLC calls for strike, who do you see on the streets? The average car owner will park his car at home and sit at home. And he's been adversely affected by the subject matter. Everyone unto himself and his family. And that's why, to a very large extent, it will be difficult, to repeat what is happening in Kenya and Nigeria. Then we are tribalized. Then the politicians also have so divided us. If you speak the truth against the ruling government, you are anti-APC. Therefore, you are Peter Obi, you are LP.
So, do you think is a result of as a result of electoral?
And just like one of the callers said,
okay,
you come out with a protest, the next thing you see a counter protest.
What?
So there is no common understanding that this thing impacts every one of us.
And it's a common cause.
And it's a common cause. Unfortunately, that's how divided we are.
Oh wow! So no headway because of that division.
We'll pray and look up to God.
Away. All right. Thank you so much, Professor Abugo ACN, for joining us in the conversation today. Thank you for your contribution, and thank you for calling me immediately, answering me immediately. I called upon you. I appreciate you a lot. Lagos, that's the size of our package. My name is Precious Inya, and thanks to all of you who always makes it a duty to join this show every single day. I love you guys, right? In spite of the gbas people give to me, those people that are beefing me for life now because of Nigeria matter. I love you people. I love you people very, very much. You don't know how much I love you people, and I am not your APC woman leader. I'll see you again tomorrow, God willing, at exactly 7 p.m. Do have yourself an amazing evening. Good night, and protect your mental health, please. Good night.